Alrighty. Hopefully y'all can hear me. This is a new way I'm doing stuff today. Hi everyone. I'm Dina. If you're here, let me know. Basically let me know if you can hear me. Make sure I'm not like echoing or anything goofy like that. If you don't know who I'm Dina. I'm the owner of Artistic Creations by Dina, and I do YouTube videos and show you how to make jewelry. And then I do some lives and yeah, I have some of my own collections out and things like that. Um, so while we're waiting for people to come in, I just texted my family. Hopefully they'll make it here shortly so I can know if everything's working okay. So what I usually do on these lives, I usually start off with what I've done over the last couple of weeks. And then I will talk about what is kind of up in the works as far as the videos are coming out. And then we kind of do something for fun. So usually the first live of the month is usually a tutorial video, which that will be today. I don't have a specific plan, so it's going to be more of a design on the fly type tutorial. But I will be using the beads from my Italian Getaway Collection that was the winner of June 2026's, um, what was it? What is it called? Good gracious, Creative Color Challenge. Couldn't remember what it was called there for a second. So I'll be using beads from that, and we'll be creating something. I have two ideas that I want to do. So hopefully I'll have time to be able to get them both done. I'm usually on for about anywhere between an hour to 2 hours. I keep looking off to the side because my daughter's stream is over here off to the side, and it's still in commercials. So I'm not sure what's going on with that right now. But hopefully I am still live and everybody can see me. But yeah, we are still in commercials. Let me see if I can just skip that. Okay. All right. I could just skip it. All right. So I wanted to make sure that I was actually in there. So hopefully everybody can hear me. So if you're stopping in, please let me know if you can hear me and I'm not just talking to a blank screen. But anyways, what we'll do first is we'll go through what I've done over the last couple of weeks. Haven't done a whole lot of videos again. If people don't know, I've had a couple of medical things that have been going on the last month, and I finally had both my surgeries. So both of my legs have been worked on. And if you didn't know what was going on, I had a vein ablation. I had varicose and spider veins and was having issues with that and wanted to get those taken care of. So, no, that's still not working. It's not even showing up. Oh, there it is. Yay, somebody is here. Hi, Dana. I'm here, new subscriber, and really enjoyed your video. Thank you. Well, thank you and welcome. So yeah, I usually do these every other Thursday, and usually that first Thursday of the month is my one that I do a tutorial with. And then the other Thursdays, I just kind of play with beads. Today, since I've been having more of trying to get over my medical stuff, I had a surgery on Friday. So I'm trying to get over the rest of that and everything. So I haven't really had time to actually prepare for a tutorial today, but I am going to make a couple of things. So I have a couple of different items in mind. So, but over the last couple of weeks and everything, going through the medical stuff and everything, finally had my last surgery, like I said, on Friday. So I have a couple of follow-up appointments. And then after that, I should be hopefully back to where I can start doing more videos again. And typically I do anywhere between 1 and 3 videos a week. Really just depends on time, because if you don't know, I am actually a pharmacist as well. I work in retail pharmacy, so that is my primary job, and I have to spend the majority of my time on that. I'm in management with pharmacy, so that's my primary job. So this is just kind of my fun stress relief type job. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much why I haven't had too many videos come out over the last couple of weeks. The biggest video is what Heather just talked about, and it is the video for Gemstone Orphanage. And hi, Cheryl. How you doing? Nice to meet y'all. I'm glad y'all are here. I'm glad that y'all can hear me. That's the biggest thing. It's the first time I'm using StreamYard, so yeah, so this is going to be fun. But for those that don't know, the only video that came out over the last couple of weeks for me is the Gemstone Orphanage video. And that was the beginning of the 250th anniversary collection that they released, to where you were able to pick out your own gemstone orphan. And then each one of us, meaning me, and then Colleen went second. And then Becky went yesterday. Jenny's just released about a couple of hours ago, I think, or maybe a little over an hour ago. Haven't had a chance to watch hers yet. And then Chrissy does hers tomorrow. And then we all get together back here on my channel again on Saturday. And we will have a get together with all 5 of us. So it's going to be fun. But this is, like I said, this is the first time I'm using StreamYard. So I wanted to make sure that I can kind of get some of the kinks out before we actually do a big, huge live with everybody. So let me know if something looks funny, if anything sounds weird, definitely let me know, because this is kind of my dry run, fun type thing to do type thing. So, but yeah, just let me know. Standing on your feet all day. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's standing on your feet all day. Yesterday I had an 11-hour shift at the pharmacy. So yeah, I'm on my feet a lot. So I definitely have really good tennis shoes that I wear to work. So that was the one video that came out this week. And then, like I said, we'll have a live. I usually do the lives every other Thursday. However, in 2 weeks, I won't be here because I'm actually taking my daughter to a college to tour a college. I'm not sure how this mama feels about that right now, but yeah, she's an only child, so she's getting to that age now to where she is looking for colleges. So we're gonna go tour a college. So in 2 weeks I won't be here, but in 4 weeks at the end of the July, I think there's 5 Thursdays in July. So I think it's that last, it may be like the 30th or the 31st, something like that. I'll be back again with another live. So I do have that planned. I have, I did have my tutorial come out for my winning thing of the Creative Color Challenge. Sorry about the bags. I forgot to get this out beforehand. I try not to do too many crinkling things. So I'm going to move down to my mat and pray that it all works. Yay! You can see it. All right, so this is my collection for the winner of the Creative Color Challenge. If you're not familiar with the Creative Color Challenge, it is where I have 2 color palettes that are chosen by random. I usually use AI, and I'll get a couple of these out. So you're going to get a sneak peek of a couple of months from now. So I'll have 2 different color palettes that come out. These are color palettes that are made by Sarah Renee Clark. They're called Color Cubes. And each one of the cubes has 250 of these cards in them. So I have actually 4 volumes of it now. She came out with volume 3 and 4 this last year, and my dad was very nice and got that for me for Christmas. So thank you, Daddy. But so I have AI choose 2 different random cards, and then from those cards, I will come up with collections like this, and put together strands, or have full strands, half strands, different things like that. And then outside of that, I will also make a project with something that goes along with the theme of it. So this theme was actually Italian Getaway. And what started that is that I have this amazing, beautiful plain bead, and it's open on the inside and everything, but it's got CZ crystals here on the wings of the plane. That's what started the idea of it being Italian Getaway, because I was, the palette obviously was red, green, and white, and I didn't really want to do a Christmas theme because, it's June. I really didn't want to do that. So I'm like, okay, what else could I do? Okay, Italian Getaway. So just different things that kind of went along with each other as far as that's concerned. And then I did this as a little either a bag tag or a purse tag, a luggage tag, something like that. So you brick, not brick stitch, you peyote stitch this guy. And then it's actually an odd count, but I start off with doing an even count peyote. And then I come back and I show you how to brick stitch that last row of the white on there to make it look like it's odd count. Because I know odd count's not the easiest for people to do, especially if you're starting out with peyote stitch. It might be really, really, not as easy to figure out right off the bat. So I did it as an even count and then did the brick stitch along the side to make it look like it's an odd count. Then I went and I showed you how to do the little points on either side like that. And then we added some 8/0 seed beads. Yeah, you can kind of see it. It's a clear 8/0 seed bead, so it's really kind of hard to see. Then added gem rings in there, and then a couple more jump rings, and then have these cute little charms. So one of the charms is a red glass of wine with some CZ crystals. And then to go along with that, Italian is one of my favorite foods. I love pasta. So I had and found these cute little pasta charms and then just a cute little tassel to go along with it. So and all of this is what you get in this collection. So the collection is actually available on my Etsy shop, and I believe everything is down in the description down below. If it's not, I will make sure that it's down there afterwards. So yeah, so we're going to use this color palette and we're going to make something else with that today. So I'm probably going to use this strand, or some of the beads off of this strand, except I don't have enough strands for me to have my own. So I have a couple of extra beads, like I have an extra plain. So I'm going to use the plain and I'm going to use some of the extra daggers that I have on there. The other project, and I'm probably going to use some other things, I just don't know what yet. And then the other project is using these Tila and tile beads. So these are really, really cool. This is actually gemstone, quartz gemstone, and they are the 2-holed tile beads. So it's got 2 holes in them. So it's really, really kind of neat. And then these are the half Tilas, the green and the red. And then we've got symbol findings that you can use to attach all your stuff together. So this is the second project that I was going to do, and something just kind of quick and simple, that type of thing. So that is probably what I'm going to end up using. So let me get some of this moved off. I'm going to need, let's see, I'm going to not use that because I don't want to break that one apart because I don't have it. So how are y'all doing? So I've got Heather and I've got Cheryl. I don't know if there's anybody else here. If you are here, go ahead and say hi. I don't remember if I have it set up to where you have to be a subscriber for an hour before you can say anything. If it is set up that way, that might be the reason why you're not able to say anything just yet. So if that's the case, I will be on for a little over an hour. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and then you can come back in about an hour and we can talk. So there is that. Let me get some of my seed beads out. My plan with this, I have some extra thread. How about that? My plan with this is to use this as a little pendant for a necklace, and then just have some cute little dangly things coming down from the tail end of the plane. Kind of, in my way, I'm just kind of thinking about the clouds that you see that are formed sometimes when the planes are up high enough. Of course, I don't think these planes get that high, but they're usually like jets and fighter jets and stuff like that. But that's kind of what I was thinking, is just have a couple of things dangling down, and then we just make a simple little loop up here that we can attach to a necklace. So that's my thinking behind it. So I'm getting out all my extra beads here. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of these, but these are the items that came in on that strand. In fact, I think I'll just leave that strand up there so everybody can see where they're all coming from. I'm probably not going to use the turtles. I have a couple of extra turtles up on my Etsy that if you wanted to get a turtle or two, then you could. But I don't have very many turtles. I was taking pictures of everything outside in my backyard because it was kind of a nice day, and actually it was really kind of an interesting day. And that, we actually didn't have any really hot weather in the Houston area. I'm from Houston, by the way. I live in Houston, Texas. I live north of Houston. So, yeah, we had some really, really nice weather, and I'm getting some thread out right now. That's probably the noise you're hearing. But I was outside in the backyard and taking pictures, and I realized that I had dropped one of the turtles and one of his legs came off. So I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to put that up on my Etsy. That'll be one that I will use in a project sometime or another. So I have one of these thread burners. I love this thread burner. It's a thread zap, and it is one that you can just plug in and charge it up that way. So you don't have to use any batteries or anything like that. I used to have a battery operated one, and I went through so many batteries in a year. It was crazy. It's like, if you're new to my channel, which I think maybe possibly both of you are, I am more of a bead weaver. And the video that I did on Monday was more of kind of outside my comfort zone, because I usually don't do a whole lot of working with wire and working with what are those, the head pins and different stuff like that. I usually don't do that as often. So it's kind of outside my comfort zone. But I like to do that too, because I want to be able to learn different things. So, but yeah, I'm primarily a bead weaver. And these are actually kind of old needles. I found a bunch of old needles lying around, and I'm like, okay, before I actually toss these, I want to make sure that they're actually not usable. So sometimes they're kind of hard to get the thread in. All right, so this one is actually just going to be kind of simple. I'm just going to start off with an 8/0, and then I'm going to make it a stop bead. I have about a wingspan of amount of thread on my needle right now, and I'm just picking up the 8/0 and then going through that a couple of times. I like to work on all kinds of things, but when I need to relax, I love peyote stitch. Oh yeah, because it's one of those that's so repetitive, and it's just soothing. And you have to, depending on what type of peyote stitch that you're doing, like with the design work and stuff like that. If you're doing something like that, you may have to kind of pay attention to where you're putting your beads, but sometimes you don't have to, and it's very soothing. I agree totally with that. And my computer just shut off. Hopefully I didn't shut off. Okay. If I did shut off, I'm sorry. I didn't realize my computer was going to shut off if I didn't move my mouse. Okay. Something else to know. All right. So I am just, let's see. I don't want to do that first, I don't think. Let's do this first. Let's go ahead and go through the plain bead, which it is open here underneath. So there is a very large opening right there. So sometimes you can actually put some seed beads inside here to help keep it from flopping around and everything. So I may end up doing that here in a little bit. I forgot to grab my delicas that I used in that project, because I'm trying to just use beads that came in the collection, so that way people can kind of get an idea of what to use and what projects to work with or make and stuff like that. So, all right, so there's 5. I think I'm going to put 7 on here, and then I'm going to pick up one of the daggers, and then you're going to see a little bit of thread doing it this way. So if this bothers you, then we can always use some of the delicas that came in the kit, or you can use a different seed bead and be able to to cover up that thread. But that's one reason why I'm using white thread, since the color palette is green, white, and red for the most part, and then gold, the gold findings and things. Then that way it's not going to look like it's out of place. And then I'm just kind of tugging on it a little bit to make sure that dagger kind of sits in the way that I want it to kind of sit, just like that. So now I'm going to go up and around that 8-0. So I can go back down the plane, because I'm going to put at least 2 more of these. I might put more, but I don't want it to be like totally all you see is just a bunch of daggers and seed beads. Let's see, I did 7 the first time, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 4. So let's try 5. And then I'll do one of the white ones. Very low price on Etsy. Are you asking about the price of the collection, Cheryl, or is it something different? And then we're going to go back up here one more time. And then make sure that sits okay. Oh, somebody's texting me. Oh. That was my husband. All right. And then I think we're going to add one more, and maybe we'll add 9 this time, and we'll put the green, one of the green daggers on. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. If you click on the one for $1.50 and then using the drop down, you'll see the full collection. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking too, is that yeah, the full collection price is a little bit different. I'm still trying to learn how to use Etsy with my collections. So that's, another thing. But I also made it to where that if somebody didn't want to purchase the full collection, which is perfectly fine, and I'm not using this whatsoever as a pitching point whatsoever. I am perfectly fine with people not wanting to spend money on stuff, and I totally get that, and I don't want to come across as that way, as me trying to sell everything all the time, because that's not my intent, at least. But I made it to where you can get the individual strands if you wanted to as well. That if you just fell in love with a strand and you're like, oh, I really like this strand, but I really don't want to spend the $50 or $55 and then shipping and stuff like that, I really didn't want to spend that type of money, then you can buy, a couple strands here and there, whichever you would like to do. So that's kind of what I had in mind, was something simple like that. So now what I need to try to figure out is, how am I going to get this attached to a necklace? So if I leave it like this, I can maybe just do maybe just a couple more 8-0s and make a loop right there. And then that way, oop, I think I'm making a knot. Whoopsie, I don't want to make a knot. And then that way I can use that. It's probably going to need more than that. But I can use that as a way to use the soft flex wire. Let me get some of the wire out so I can kind of play with it. Thanks, Heather. I am such a tech wizard. Aren't we all? What's really bad is that my dad is a computer programmer, or a retired computer programmer. If he heard me, or if he was on right now, he'd be like, hey, I'm retired. But anyways, So I grew up with computers, and there's still things that I still don't understand how to do. But I had a computer in my house since I was 5. So it's just one of those things. All right. Well, that will still be plenty of room to be able to get the wire through there. Okay. So that, I think, is what I'm going to do, is just make one very simple little bail like this. And then I'm just going to go through these seed beads a couple of times. And then I'll consider this my little bail. Of course, it's going to flop around a little bit. It's not going to be stationary if you're making the bail like this. But there's times I use wire guards in this type of a situation and then use a jump ring. And then there's other times I use actual pendants and things like that, and bails. That's what I meant to say, bails, to actually attach things. So it kind of just depends on the project. It depends on my mood, on what I want to do. So there again, you're going to see some of the thread. So if that ends up bothering you, you can either use green thread, or you could use some 11-0 seed beads in between. So that's just one of those things. There's always an option to make things different if things like that bother you. All right, and then I'm going to make a knot here. And I'm going to go actually down to the end of the plane down here. That will kind of help get that knot to go a little bit more straighter into the plane, hopefully. Let that bead sit a little bit nicer. And then I'm going to go through just one of the seed beads, and then I'll burn off through one of the seed beads down here. As soon as I figure out what I did with my thread burner. There we go. All right. And then there's that one off. And then I will try and put a needle on the end of this guy. And get a second needle out. And I just use an old seed bead tube and put my needles in the old seed bead tube. That's how I store my stuff. And I leave an old label on of whatever the seed beads was beforehand, so that way I know, okay, these are my old needles. And then I've got my newer needles that have, whoa, I almost knocked my water over. That would have been a mess. I got my newer needles that are already in the little things that have the pony brands. So, oh, and that's the other thing. A couple of weeks ago on Becky's channel, on one of her lives, Becky and Jenny, Becky was talking about how pony brand, their needles are not nickel free. I had no idea, because I've always had, I thought, a nickel allergy, but apparently not, because I can use these things and not have any problems at all. So mine's probably more of a sensitivity than an allergy, but I didn't know that. So I started looking around. I'm like, well, what can I do to help out those that may want to purchase my collection? Because in the kit portion of the collection, you get everything you need for that kit. So you'll get the thread, you'll get a needle, you'll get all the beads and all the findings and everything. So, oh man, I'm shaking again. So I was trying to figure out, all right, so what could I do to help those people out? Well, I did some research and I found out that there actually is a pony brand that is nickel free. So I do have these available, that if when purchasing something, if you do have a nickel allergy and you want one of these, I'll just flip this out instead of the regular needle. I'll put one of those in there for you. So, and all you have to do is just put a note down in the comments of the purchase, and then I'll take care of it, or message me or anything like that. So somehow get a hold of me and I'll take care of it. All right. So then that is going to be the cute little dangle for a little pendant for the necklace. Now I'm going to move these guys off. And then we're going to try to figure out what to use to make the necklace portion. Because I would be using these guys, but I don't think I have enough. So let's see. Because I think this I'm just going to do just a normal stringing, because the other project I'm going to work on is more of a bead weaving project. So let's see, because those two, and then maybe some of the bicones off of this one. All right, so let me get the seed beads off to the side. And then this one has, what was it? This is Howlite. It's the white and gray Howlite. And then it's got garnet on this strand. And then this is green aventurine. And then these are dizzy agate beads. And then I love the little stars. I found the little Howlite stars. I was like, oh, those are so cute. Got to get those on there too. So let me get somewhere in here is my cutters. There they are. All right, so I'm going to cut up this strand. Oh gosh, don't cut your finger, Dina Ann. Good gracious. Okay, really? There it goes. It wasn't cutting there for a second. I'm like, great, did I break my pliers already? All right, so we're probably going to use some of these. Maybe not all of them, but we'll use some of these. I think I just threw a garnet across the room. Great. I have cats too. One of my cats got mad at me last night, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, I just heard it hit the floor. Okay, good. At least I can find it here later. But she got mad at me last night, and my little baggie with my stone that I got from Gemstone Orphanage, because we didn't get to pick our stones. She just sent our stones to us. So this little baggie was sitting on this bead mat right here, and my kitty cat was doing something, not so great yesterday, and she was getting on the counter next to our sink. So I turned the water on and turned it on to the spray mode and sprayed her for just a second. Well, she got mad at me. She came in here and she picked up that baggie and took off with it and started playing with my stone. So my daughter comes in and she's just like, Mommy, Cosmo is taking off, is waging war with you. She just took off with your stone. I'm like, wait, what? She took off with my stone. What stone are you talking about? She's like, the one you just got. I'm like, great. So then my daughter had to go chase down the cat and get the stone away from her. I'm like, oh, let's not do that. So apparently she was mad at me for spraying her. So like, that's what I get, I guess, for having, why is that not cutting? For having kitty cats. But she was the one that was doing the little stinker buttish thing. That's what we call it when we say whenever they're doing something. It's like they're being a stinker butt. Oh gosh. I'm just going to end up breaking everything before I get a chance to use it. Goodness. All right, I was going to use some of the bicones, I think, off of this strand. All right, so let's come up with a pattern. I love my Howlite, so I think I'm going to do some Howlite. Come on, you're making a mess, Dina. You're making a mess. All right. So I do love my Howlite. So I'm probably going to use my Howlite, and I love Cat's Eye also. So I think I'm going to try to do something that is just really simple and try to do in between type things like this. And then I'm going to add some red and green in there too, so I can still keep the red and green. And then outside of that, it's probably where the bicones are going to come in, or is the red and green portion. And then outside of that, I will use something else, but I will put, let's see. Oh, I do have a couple more highlights. All right, there's one there and there's one there. I don't know if I'm even. That's fine. I'll figure that out in a minute. That, and then I've got another cat's eye I can pull off over here. Put that up there. Okay. So we're going to need some red and green. I might be able to use the little garnets in some spots. These are little 2mm garnets, which are really fun to try to put on that strand. Man, that took forever to get that strand, those strands put together with those little garnets on it. And I kind of like the sparkliness of these guys too. I might end up using these in a couple of places. And that, and get this off and get the rest of the bicones. All right. And then that goes in the trash. Okay, let's get the thread out of the way. I think I'm getting all messed up because I have thread over there and I have a loose bicone. All right. Now, Italian flag. Is it green, white, and red? I think it's green, white, and red. So let's think of it that way. Let's see. I want, let's see, where is the middle of this? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so here is the middle. So then that would go right there. So if we consider this green, and then depending on where we want to go, because I have more cat's eye. Okay, so green and then white. And then if I need some extra space, which I probably will, I will most likely, because these are all 6mm beads, so I'm probably going to need some extra space. But you know what? I can use my aventurine too. Why am I not using those? Okay, let's do that. So, okay, so that's really faceted, because there's some of these aventurine that are really, really faceted, and then some of the aventurine is not so bad. Okay, so if we do highlight, bicone, green, white, and red. Green, white, red. Green, white, red. Okay. Then something like that, maybe. And then I would need to make sure that I don't use up too many of these. So there's 2, so I'm going to need 2 over here. And then that one. And that one. And then these 2 actually are a little bit more sparkly, so I'm going to replace them down here. And then the same thing with these 2. Except I think I'm going to replace those 2 because they're about the same color. And then put that one up here. Okay. So I am going to get this laid out like this, and then I will start stringing on. So are y'all working on any projects at all at the moment? Are y'all working with the Gemstone Orphanage box? Were y'all able to get one of those? Because those are, I know they were sold out now. It's probably the biggest thing on my lives is trying to figure out, okay, what can I talk about? I'm not a huge talker. I've always been one of those that's been really quiet in the back of the room, basically. So I've always been one of those that's been really just kind of quiet, and I would always sit in the back of the room and not really say that much and all of that. So so trying to figure out what to talk about and how to keep people engaged while I'm just sitting here just blabbing on and green, white, and red, and then trying to design something. Green, white, and red. Okay, so if we do it that way, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure we don't forget these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I have enough left over to where I got the box. Haven't had a chance to work with it yet. Hoping to today. Yay! I'm glad you're able to get it. It's like it's so deep. Oh boy, Steve and Debbie. I was trying to say they're both their names at the same time. Did not come out right. Steve and Debbie are just wonderful to work with. They're such a blast. They're so sweet and so nice. So considerate about everything. So, I just love working with them. They're a lot of fun to work with. So I was really, really happy when she reached out to me and said, "Hey, if you have any ideas about anything special, just let me know." And I sat there and thought, actually, I do. I just didn't know how to do it because I was thinking on doing something special on my channel itself. I'm trying to get this thing off. I was trying to do something special on my channel myself and wasn't sure how I was going to be able to do it because I have kind of a budget that I have to stick with and wasn't sure what I was going to be able to do. So I was like, all right, so I guess we'll figure out something. And then she ended up emailing me. I don't think I'm on screen. She ended up emailing me saying, "Hey, if you have any ideas." I'm like, "Yes, actually I do." So, and then we went with it. So it was kind of neat. It's like, if you're not aware, this is actually my second time of working with Gemstone Orphanage. I was able to do a box with them last year in August of last year. It was the what did they call it? Princess Blue collection, and it was Sodalite was the main gemstone that everybody got in that one. And Sodalite's one of my absolute favorite stones to work with. And we have rain in the area, thunderstorms in the area, so that's why my watch keeps dinging me. Because the thunderstorms, I have an app on there that tells me when there's lightning in the area, just in case I'm outside doing an event outside. Then I know, all right, and maybe being underneath this metal tent while there's lightning in the area is probably not a good idea. So, but yeah, that's why I have that set up, and it's just dinging. So hopefully it won't be too bad. After I get this strung on, I'm going to check it and see the length of it and get my measuring tape out and measure it. I usually like to wear somewhere around a 16 to 18 inch necklace. And that's kind of my comfort zone. And that's usually what I make most of my jewelry with, is around 16 or 18 inch. If I do something around a 16 or smaller, then I will do an extender chain with it as well. So yeah, that's that's tiny, but let's see where we're at, so that way I know how much I'm going to have to add. And I thought I had one of these out. I guess I don't. That's fine. All right, so this is already sitting at 6 inches right now. So if I want to make it, let's start off with a 16-inch, and then that way I can add the 2-inch extender. So 16-inch, that means about 17 inches. So about 17 inches, so that would be 14 inches. That's 15. Why am I not doing math today? 16. So yeah, we want to do it 15 inches. So I only really need to add just another 1.5 inches or so. Okay. I wonder, should I add more beads or should I add just the seed beads to it? I wonder. Because the seed beads might give it enough room. All right. All right, so now we're going back to this. And then hopefully this will be good enough or long enough, and then we can go from there. And if it ends up being more of like a 14 or 15 inch, I can always just have a shorter necklace. It's like I'm just one that I know I don't like to wear necklaces that are tight and short, but other people do. So, and I have to kind of keep that in mind too. Just because I like something doesn't mean that somebody else likes something as well. So I just have to kind of keep that in mind. And choker necklaces are kind of in style, or at least they were. I know chunky necklaces are kind of getting back in style again, so the chunky things. I often use seed beads up near the top since they aren't seen as much. Yep, I do that too. I'll string them up there. And this is the last of my green seed beads, so hopefully I have enough. If not, I may end up just finishing the necklace portion off screen and start working on the other one. Because I don't want to sit here and string this on and then unstring it and then unstring it back on and so on and so forth. I don't want to do that the whole time I'm on live. Because I can just always come back and finish it off. And I've got a whole container of clear seed beads too, so I can use clear seed beads towards the back like you had said. And then that way you can see the wire through the seed beads too. There's a couple of necklaces that I've made over the last couple of, darn it, my computer turned off again. I gotta figure out how to do that, how to keep that on. But I've made a couple of necklaces over the last couple of years that I use the soft flex wire, and it's a colored wire, but then I use clear 8/0 seed beads, and you can see the wire through the seed bead, and it just kind of gives it a little bit of a sparkle to it, and so it's kind of neat. It's a different texture and different look. So something to think about if you're ever in that situation where you're like, okay, I don't know what to put here, and you have something like that. So you have some clear seed beads. It might be something to just kind of spruce up the necklace just a little bit, or the bracelet, or even earrings. All right, so get these last couple on, and if, like I said, if this is still too short, then I will finish this off screen. It'll be the same pattern. I'll just end up putting some clear seed beads on it and then go from there. All right, I'm not going to add another seed bead. I'm going to end with the howlite. Yeah, that looks like that's going to be well more than enough. So that's probably actually a little bit too much. Yeah, so we're sitting at like a 19-inch necklace now, 16. Yeah. Okay, well, is what it is. I like it. I'm just going to go with it. All right, so then we need to string on our plane. So don't forget about the plane. All right, I keep putting this down here. All right, so now we're going to get howlite. All right, definitely if you're able to just peek in every once in a while, make sure that I'm not skipping a bead. Because it looks like I might have just enough seed beads. And if I am a little short, I can always just switch them out to the white ones, or the clear ones later. Let's see, I'm right here, so I need cat's eye. All right, cat's eye, then bicone. So I'm kind of excited to see what Jenny was able to come up with. And I'm hoping she's feeling better because I know she had hurt her back recently. And I was just finishing up Becky's video. Messed up. I was just finishing up Becky's video right before I started getting ready for the live. All right, so we were there. So I need another one of these. I was like, there's too many whites and greens. And I really liked what Becky came up with. So I'm not going to talk much about it because just in case somebody hasn't had a chance to watch her video, or Colleen's or anybody's at the moment, yeah, I'm not going to say too much about it. Let's see, bicone. Alrighty, we're getting close to the end. Let's see. I'm right there, I think. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I need cat's eye. Oh gosh. And then we need red, I think. Yeah. Green, white, and red. Green, white, red. Okay. And then howlite. No. Now highlight. All right. I'm like really quiet again. I'm sorry. I'm like trying to concentrate and make sure I'm not picking up the wrong beads. I know when I'm watching somebody on either a live or even their tutorial videos and they're stringing like this, that sometimes I'm like, wait, go back. You forgot a bead. But of course they can't hear me. So it's funny. I'm sitting there yelling at the computer. It's like, no, go back. It's like, how do I let this person know they skipped something? All right, so I think that's it on that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Why am I not counting? Okay, this is different right here. That's why it looked funny. All right. So I messed up way back here. I was like, why does that look different? Okay. So I am going to just leave that, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. So we're going to do this, and we got those two, then these two, and then white and bicone, then this. All right, so then instead of this, I need a cat's eye. Okay. So that's where it got messed up. I was like, something just doesn't look right. But since I messed up on one side, instead of just undoing it all over again, I'm going to just leave it in there. And that way you know this is actually handmade. That sometimes mistakes do happen, and you either figure out how to fix it or you figure out how to work around it one way or another. And sometimes those mistakes are meant to be in there, and it kind of helps people understand, all right, this really is handmade because I see a mistake right there in the pattern. All right, so now we're to these. Okay. So I got that one, then the green. Okay, so now we need cat's eye, and then how light, and then we end with a cat's eye and a bicone. So now these are all like this. Okay, and now I can just pick up a seed bead in between. I think I'm going to have just enough seed beads, which is perfectly fine with me. I'm glad y'all were able to come by and say hi today. Like, I usually have just a few people on. I'm kind of in the middle of the day. Oh, I'm going to run out. I'm kind of, I stream in the middle of the day, so it's kind of hard for some people to get on because it is a work day. And it is one of those things that, and I'm out. Okay, well, we'll just take that other seed bead off the other side. But, so I completely get it that sometimes it's hard for people to get on and everything. So I'm really, really happy that y'all were able to make it today. Alrighty. So there is that. So now we need a crimp and finish it off. So let me find my crimper. And I use the magical crimper as well. I know a lot of people love the magical crimper. I absolutely love it. And then I keep all my little crimp tubes in one of these little twistable containers. So very, very handy to have on your desk. Get two of those guys out. Clasps. What did I do with my clasps? They are over here. So this is the gold findings pack that comes with the collection. So that's the only thing extra I'm going to be using besides the wire. Let's do one of these lobster clasps, because this is one of the clasps that you get in the kit. It's a combination of two lobsters, and then you have a little heart connector in the middle of that. So I'll use one of those lobsters, and then it comes with one jump ring. So I need to get a couple of the other jump rings out. Let's see. These are the ear wires that come with it. These things are so pretty. They are so sparkly, and they're kind of like a huggy type of an ear wire, and it's got the little loop down here in the bottom. I really love these. I saw those and I was like, yep, those are going in my cart. All right, let's get that one. That one seems to be about the same size. And since I made a bracelet, I might make a pair of earrings also, but that will most likely be off camera. Okay, now let me think about this. This is on this side, so this is the side that we're going to need to put the lobster on. So before I close that up, Oh, there's my other thing. I need to get this open so I can take this off. Oh, I don't need a jump ring. Oh gosh. I was going to put the lobster straight on the wire, and I don't know why I got the extra jump ring out, because I could just use this jump ring right here. Put that off to the side as the jump ring for the thing. I don't know why I got the other one out now. Whatever. It is what it is. All right, put the lobster on, and then like I'm leaving all of this on the spool at the moment. And then I'm going to crimp down on this part, and then I'll cut it off the spool on the other side. Oh, come on. I also have a little bit of a trimmer. I shouldn't say a little bit of a trimmer. I have a trimmer. So sometimes doing this intricate stuff can be a little difficult. It's like it's one of those hereditary trimmers that I got from my dad's side of the family. And my dad actually has it as well. So we're learning how to live with it and everything. He's actually had some procedures done and everything to help with his trimmer. Luckily, mine is just to the point where I'm just on medication to help out with it. What kind of crimps do you use? Pretty necklace. Thank you. Good catch on the mistake. Thanks. The crimps are the Softflex 2x2 crimps. So I do use those, and then when you use the magical crimper like that, you just end up getting a nice little ball of crimp. I usually go around that crimp probably way too much. It's like usually you only have to go around a couple of times, and I usually go around a lot more. So you'll see me crimp for a while, and most of the time you don't have to crimp for that long. Most of the time it's done after first couple of squishes. But I really like using the Softflex wire. I'm really happy with that product and the way that it works and everything. And then the crimp tubes and all of that, those are, I really like their product. It's just something very nice to work with, and it always works. I don't have any problems with any of my necklaces coming apart or bracelets or anything. So I really like their product. So shout out to Softflex. All right. And I probably cut off a little too much on the end, which is fine. And this is always the part that's a little bit difficult to do, because you want to make sure that you have enough room on your necklace to where the beads can kind of still move around, but you want to make it tight enough to where it's not too loose to where you have a lot of gaps. So this is the part that's probably the hardest part for me to try to do, especially with that trimmer. So I'm trying to hold on to the loop with my left hand in between my nail and my forefinger. And then I'm holding on to tension-wise with my other fingers down here. And then I'm going to try to get this in there and get it situated to where it's right up against the bicone, but not in between, or not on top of the bicone, so I don't crack it, and then squish down. And then lift up and squish, and then twist and squish. And they end up being just a really, really nice crimp. But like I said, I probably crimp way too many times, because you're supposed to crimp until you don't feel any resistance. But sometimes with my trimmer, because I will be holding on to something and then all of a sudden I'll just do this. And so sometimes when I'm crimping, I'll crimp and then I shake a little bit, and then it kind of wonkies the crimp a little bit. So I think that's probably one reason why I do a lot more crimping than what everybody else really does. All right, and then we're going to take the jump ring and we're going to slide that guy on. And then I will add an extender later on because they are in the containers behind me. And I'll have to go and get those at a later time. So then that is a necklace that you can make with this collection if you so choose. And then you got the cute little plane sitting there. So neat. I think that turned out really nice. All right. So this little part right here, I actually saved these. I have a little old, I don't even know what this was. It was a jar of something. And then I just put all my extra pieces in there. And then sometime or another, I plan on coming out with a video showing you how to do something with all of the little small pieces like this. You know, come up with something, and probably like an earring or maybe a pendant or something like that that you can use with all the little small pieces. And then the rest of it will go in another jar that has all of like these pieces right here. That'll go in another jar that has all my extra wire in it and everything. So I'm going to do a cleanup of the mat. While I'm doing that, I'll go ahead and I'll go back to this one while I'm cleaning up my mat, so you're not just seeing me clean up stuff. And then I don't know what happened to the little clip. Great. There it is. Found it. Sorry. And then I will get thread out again, and I'll work on that bracelet, and I'll show you how to use the symbol findings for the tilas and the half tilas. So those are really neat to use. I really like those. Those are fun to use. I've used them a couple of times in the past for some other projects. I don't think I have any of those projects. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't have any of those projects up on my Etsy site for that. But that's only because the projects are that old. So I just don't have them up anymore. I've either sold them or they're just that old to where they're not. I either use and wear them or something, or they're just lost somewhere in my room. That's the best way of putting it. Because I have this whole room. I mean, you can see stuff behind me. You can see all of the yarn that's up here because I have yarn there. I have yarn on this wall that you can't see. Over here off to this side, this is like a whole wall of beads over here, and I have paint up here. And oh wow, you can see my bruises. By the way, those are bruises from my dog. So everything's fine. Don't think anything else. Those are bruises from my dog. He is I have a Bernese mountain dog puppy. He is going to be 7 months old on the 7th. So he's almost 7 months old, and he is almost 60 pounds. And he is in his biting phase. So he is just biting like crazy. And he's now starting to jump on me, jump on my daughter. Not doing it so much to my husband. I wish I can figure out what my husband's doing different. He doesn't even know what he's doing different. So, but he's my cutie. His name is Captain. It's Captain spelled with a K instead of a C. My family has a thing about that. My maiden name is Curls, and it's spelled with a K instead of a C. So when we were children, or when my sister and I were children, we ended up having to get a cat because we had a dog at the time. We had a beagle, and certain circumstances happened and things like that, and we had to get rid of the dog. So my mom, outside of the knowledge of my dad, decided to go get a cat, and he was a full all-white cat with blue eyes, and my mom wanted to name him Cotton because he looked like a big cotton ball. And so that was what his name was, and Cotton ended up being, I think, 23 pounds at his heaviest. He was a big cat. So one of my friends that I grew up playing soccer with, she actually nicknamed him Cotton Field because he was such a big cat. But yeah, so that started the changing the names from a C to a K, because we spelled his name with a K instead of a C. So over the years, we've had Cotton, Coco, Carrie, Casey, Copper, Cleo, or Cleopatra. That was really her name, was Cleopatra. Kahlua, which was the first one that was actually a K that we didn't change. And then now we have Casper, which is my golden retriever. He's an English cream golden retriever, so he's more white. And we have Cosmos, which we call her Cosmo. Kylie, so that's the second one that was actually a K that didn't get changed. And then Captain. So that's been all my animals since I was 5, I think, when we got Cotton. And then the beagle's name was Buffy. So not even close to being a CK type thing. So, but whatever. One of those things. Oh, ouch. Very cute necklace. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. They're really good products. What kind of crimps do you use? Yes, they are. They are really good products. Sorry, I'm like doing this because all my apparatus is in the way and I can't see. So, you know that some Native Americans make mistake in their bead. Yes, that is actually, yes, that is actually true. I remember reading that one time because, you know, as you can see, nope, wrong way, that one. And then, well, you can see those too. I do like Native American stuff. When I was younger, I was very interested in Native American cultures and things like that. So that actually is what got me interested in beadwork. My mother and her parents went on a trip starting from the Houston area here. They went westward, drove the whole time, went westward to California, and then drove up the state of California a little bit, and then went back eastward to where my grandparents used to live in St. Louis. And then my mom flew home from there. So in that trip, they stopped by a couple of the Indian reservations, and my mom picked up a couple of necklaces that were made by the Native Americans there. So that kind of got me started with wanting beadwork and loving beadwork and stuff like that. So I used to have a loom that I would make similar necklaces with and things like that. I would just kind of copy what was made from there with some really, really cheap type beads. But you know, when you're a kid, what do? You can't, you know, big, huge, you know, amounts of beads like this with Mayuki and stuff like that. Yeah, we just didn't have the money for that in my family growing up. So one of those things. But yeah, the Native American things, a lot of their rugs and stuff that they make and blankets and things like that, they will specifically leave a mistake in there to help please everybody. And, you know, not everything's perfect. So that's kind of the main reason why they did that. So yeah, I do remember about that. All right, before I actually forget, let me go ahead and get my delicas. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I keep all my delicas over there in a little container. So these are the delicas that I used in iPhone. There we go. That should turn that back on. There we go. So these are the delicas that are in the little bag tag thing, purse tag, whatever you want to call that. So I'm probably going to end up just using just the white in this, but we'll need some delicas so we can go, or 11Os. You can use 11Os as well, but you'll need something that you can go around. Now these, I only had enough of these strands to make 10 full strands, and then these are the leftovers. So I think I had enough to be able to do the red portion, but the green fell short. So I just kept it as individual like this, and I was like, you know what, I'll just make a necklace or bracelet, I mean, out of this, and just use my leftovers, and when I run out, I run out. I can either use more delicas to fill up the extra spots, or I can use something different. All right, so it's probably not the best thing to use a Delica as a stop bead, but I'm going to go ahead and do that just because I'm trying to use what's in the kit and not necessarily extra things that are from my stash. But, you know, a lot of people probably have those too, but I'm just going to go through the Delica once. And then I'm going to pick up one of the symbol findings. So the symbol finding have holes here along the side. So you can put your tila or your half tila or your quarter tila, because I work with all of them, in the center there. So what I'm going to end up doing is putting one of these guys in the center. So I'm going to take my needle and then I'm going to just ever so slightly try to get this lined up. Okay, line it up first, Dina Ann. Come on. I like to yell at myself sometimes. All right, there we go. All right, so then you go straight through just like that. And then on the outside is where we're going to pick up a couple of seed beads. And then I'm going to pick up, I think, let's see. Do I want to start off with 2 of these? And then it should just go straight through like that. So you're going to have a little bit of a gap sitting there because you can either do it that way or you can put 3 of these sitting here, 3 of your gemstones sitting there. And then this is kind of just a peyote stitch thing where we're going to add 2 tilas. And then I'm going to add 3. Actually, I'm only going to add 2 of the Delicas because I'll just reuse this one right here. And then we're going to go through this one more time to get to where we can start going back and forth. And there's multiple ways that you can get this started, because we'll have to okay, and then go back through those beads. Yeah, there's multiple ways that you can use these type of findings and stuff like that. We're going to go through the red beads. I'm going to pick up one of the quartz beads and then go through the green ones. And then now it's just really picking up 3 of our seed beads and then 2 of the half tilas and then putting that on. And there's many other patterns that you can use too. If you wanted to, you can actually like square stitch on another half tila right here if you wanted to do that. And then that way it's not always the same type of pattern, essentially. So in this part, after I put the red tilas on, half tilas on, I'm going to go backwards this direction and go through here. So that way I can get set up to start adding more beads on the other side. So we're going to go through the 3 delicas on the edge, then go through all your half tilas and the gemstone tila. So what it's going to end up doing, that might be too many beads on the edge. I may end up only having to do 2. So what it's going to end up doing is that you're going to have basically a full row of seed beads on this side, and then you're going to have a broken amount over here on this side. At the very end, that's when we can go back and we can add some more beads over here and finish it off a little bit nicer so it's a little bit more even. Like I said, there's multiple ways of doing this, so if there's another way that you're more comfortable with doing and it works out better for you, then obviously you can definitely do that. Oops. And then now we'll pick up 3. So I'm going to do 3 on this side, but then I'm only going to do 2 on this side. So when it's in between tilas like that, I'm going to do 3. When it's going on top of the tila, I'm only going to do 2 seed beads. Because I was doing 3 at first, and I think it's too many because that one's just poking out. And I want it to look more straight. Not necessarily completely straight, but just, a little bit more straight. He was a cotton ball. Yep, he was definitely a cotton ball. And he was like my baby. He ended up being 17 when he died, and so I literally grew up with that cat. And he would always meet me at the door. So whenever I'm going in between beads, okay. Whenever I would come home from school or from work or whatever the case was, he would always meet me at the door, just like a dog would. Most of the time that's what dogs do. So he would always meet me at the door, and I'd be on one side of the house, and I would just yell, "Cotton, come here, Cotton," and he'd come running. And of course, he was so big that his little tummy was just flopping back and forth like this the whole time. It's so funny. But yeah, I miss that cat. He was such a really good cat. He took care of the family, basically. It's like, I'm pretty sure that if we ever had somebody break into my house, that cat probably would have jumped on him. I mean, he was like our guard cat. He was that good of a cat, and I really miss him. But unfortunately, they don't last. They don't stay around with us as long as we would like. So, which is one reason why we got, whoa, hello. That was a shake. That's one reason why we got Captain, because Casper is actually 12 years old. He's a 12-year-old golden retriever. And on average, I was told by a veterinarian a long time ago, on average, golden retrievers usually live between 7 and 11 years. So, going in between, sorry, thinking out loud. So when Casper was starting to get a little older a couple of years ago, my husband and I started talking about potentially getting another dog. And we weren't sure if we were going to get another golden or if we wanted to do a different breed. And that's when we started looking into the Bernese Mountain Dog, because all of the research that we did says that a Bernese Mountain Dog is like basically a big giant baby, essentially. And I'm like, all right, that could be really, really nice, because, I wanted something that would still be protective, obviously, of the house and things like that, but also just a gentle giant, essentially. So the one thing that we didn't find out until just now, because we've had Captain for, what are we in? We're in July now, and we got him in the first week of February. So about 5 months now, is that we did know that Bernese Mountain Dogs are puppies for a very long time. They're usually puppies for about 2 to 3 years, where some breeds are a little bit, they grow out of their puppy stage a little bit faster than that. So, but Bernice's Berners usually last about 3 years, and that they stay puppies for a long time. And with all the biting and stuff like that we're going through right now, trying to get him to understand he can't do that and things, I'm like, whew, man, this is a lot more work than what we were expecting it to be, which is totally, totally fine with the whole family. It's just not what we were expecting. So I absolutely love my dog. He, when he's calm and he's not jumping on you, he's the sweetest, loving dog. And that's all he really wants to do, is just lay up against you. So I'm going to have a 100-pound lap dog here in a little while. But I mean, outside of that, it's just these last couple of months and trying to get him the training he needs, and get us the training we need to be able to train him too. Things like that. That's been kind of a challenge, but we're getting there. He's gotten a lot better. Excuse me. He's gotten a lot better with his biting. I need to get water. Sorry. All right. Been talking too much and not drinking any water. But he's gotten a lot better with his biting recently. The bruises that were on my arm just then, that was actually from Saturday. We had he and I, Captain and I, had a little bit of an issue. I had taken him outside in the backyard, and we have a house generator, and he has been trying to dig around the generator. I'm like, that's probably not a good place to dig, dude. So I walked over there, and this is the day after my surgery, mind you. I had walked over there, and he got into just, a playful mood, what we call psycho mode. And he likes to run like crazy around the backyard. And he just like runs laps around our backyard. And we have kind of a small backyard because we live in a subdivision. So we have kind of a small backyard. But he started running laps around the backyard. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. But then he decided to start jumping on me. I'm like, oh, I just had surgery yesterday. I can't have a 60-pound dog jumping on me. And so I was trying to get him to calm down. And when he gets into his modes that we call psycho modes, he gets bitey with that too. So I was trying to get him to calm down by grabbing his collar and like basically where his scruff is at, so the back part of his neck, and was trying to get him to calm down that way. And when every once in a while when I grab him like that, he'll turn around with his mouth and basically gnaw on me. So that's where all those bruises came from. And we were having some issues, and I was trying to get him to calm down. So I have 2 friends that have had burners, and they really loved them. Yeah. It's like we went on vacation. When was that? 21? It was right after the pandemic, right when things were starting to kind of open back up again. We went on vacation as a family, as a whole family. It was the 3 of us, my husband, my daughter, and I. And then my mother-in-law is still with us, and my dad and my sister are all still with us. And we decided to take a family vacation. So the place that we stayed at and where we ended up going had a Bernese Mountain Dog as kind of like their mascot for the hotel. So that was when I looked at my husband and I said, that is a Bernese Mountain Dog. That is the dog that I want. So he's like, that looks kind of interesting. So that's kind of when it started the thought of potentially getting a burner. So, and I'm very confident that Captain will calm down soon. It may take, a year or something like that, but I'm very confident that he will calm down and he will, behave and stuff like that. So the biggest thing that we were worried about was when my mother-in-law came over recently, because we do live here in the Houston area, like I said, and my mother-in-law lives along the coast. And we had the first tropical storm? I think it became a tropical storm. It ended up going into Louisiana, but we were concerned that it was going to move right up along the coast of Texas, and that meant that Mom would have had to deal with flooding and stuff like that, being literally 7 miles from the coast. So we drove down and picked her up and had her up here, and that was the first time that she was here for more than just 24 hours. And we were afraid that the dog was going to do the same thing that he was doing with me and my daughter. We're jumping and stuff like that. And Captain was so good. And seeing him act with my mother-in-law and just walking up to her and just like sniffing her and then just licking her hands, wasn't biting, nothing, and just being just a really, really good dog. That's when I was just like, okay, we just got to get through this puppy phase. Once we get through this puppy phase, then we're going to be fine. And the jumping's probably going to stop and the biting's going to stop and stuff like that. We just got to get through it. So my daughter has an Australian cattle dog. So smart. They are. Yeah, they are. Playful and listens very well. Yeah. Yeah, Captain does really, really good with training because we did go and put him through a training program that's here in the area that we live in. And so I try to use, on my days off of the pharmacy at least, I try to use some of the time training them and using some of that knowledge that we got from that training. And as soon as I have a treat in my hand, or if I act like I have a treat in my hand, I've got his full attention. So unless he's jumping, if he's going through psycho mode, that's kind of hard to get his full attention. But for the most part, that's what it is. And he's usually pretty good with stuff, and he loves to train because he knows he's going to get something. So that's another thing that I'm just like, we just need to get through this puppy phase. Once we get through the puppy phase, I think we'll be fine. And things will start looking a little bit better with it. And his picture was on the post. I usually do a post the day of things that are coming out, whether it be a video or a live or anything like that. I'll do a post on my channel, and sometimes I add current pictures of my animals. And I had a picture of Casper and Captain sitting up against the back door. And then I had a picture of Kylie. The white and gray cat is my daughter's cat, Kylie. And I'm about to run out of thread. And I'm probably going to run out of beads before I make this long enough for it to fit comfortably around a wrist. So what I'll probably end up doing is adding some jump rings to the end, and then using those jump rings as the length. Or I might even add a little bit of a chain. The chain is like a gold chain that is more of like links. So it's not exactly a chain itself. But yeah, I'm going to run out of beads, I think, before it gets done. But I don't know, maybe. I mean, I'm already a little over halfway around the wrist. I wear kind of a small bracelet. I tend to wear about a 6.5 to 7-inch bracelet. So mine's a little bit smaller than some people, but I'll use this to show you how I add thread to my projects. Where's that other thing of thread? I'll just use this if I can unwind it. But I'll use this to show you how I add thread to my projects. Oh, I moved my mouse around again so I don't miss anything. All right, so I'm just going to show you, and then I just started doing it without talking about it. All right, so I'm taking the new piece of thread, and I'm wrapping it around the old piece of thread that I had the needle just sitting in the mat to help it just keep it upright so I can do this. So I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm actually going to make a knot around the thread first. So just one little knot, and then just like that. Now I'm going to move that knot. I'm going to slide it down to the end right next to the bead like that. Then this is the old thread in my right hand. This is the new thread on my left hand, the little portion of it. Now I'm going to make a overhand knot. So the right over left, left over right. So this, I make a loop and I go through the loop, pull it towards me. I have to kind of pull it down again because it got loose there for a second. Usually happens when I'm trying to teach something. then I make another loop, and then the smaller portion, or the portion that I'm working with, is going to go away from me through that loop. Just like that. And then I would use this needle. So this is the old thread still. And then I'm just going to weave back through a couple of the beads until I get back to where I want to burn off. And I'm just going to go through just the 2 red beads, the Tilas, and see how it's kind of curving a little bit. And that's because we have more beads over here, and then once we add the beads over on the other side, then it'll stop curving so much. And then that's where I can use this to burn off now. My daughter has had a dog that would do that to me too. I have multiple artificial joints and other hardware. I was dog sitting, found him. He was walking with my cane. He would behave. Captain is treating. Yeah, he is. He's treating me like another dog. It's exactly what it is, because he does this with Casper too. And like I said, Casper's 12 years old. So we're a little concerned with that when he started jumping and everything. But Casper kind of tells him, all right, it's time to stop. And we kind of keep an eye on him too. And whenever Casper gets into that phase of, you can just tell when your dog is just ready to have a break. So whenever Casper gets to that point, then we either separate him, or if Captain's been out long enough, because we kennel train him. If he's been out long enough, then we'll put him back in the kennel for a little while. But, or we'll play with him, that too. Because I did that this morning. That I was trying to, what was it? I think my daughter was trying to make breakfast, and maybe that was a couple of days ago. Anyways, whenever that was. But it was either my daughter was trying to make breakfast or my husband was making dinner, one of the two. And he was kind of getting craziness again. So I had gotten one of his squeaky toys out. He loves his squeaky toys. And started to play with them, and just got him occupied to where he wasn't jumping on Casper and all of that. So, all right, so let's get some more delicas out. But yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. He's treating me and my daughter as like another dog that he wants to play with. It was funny when I was getting ready for the live earlier. I looked at my arm and I'm like, man, these bruises. Hopefully I don't show my bruises. And then I lifted up my arm earlier to talk about stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, those bruises. Yeah, let me explain that so people don't think I'm being abused or anything. It's like, I promise that's not it. Like, my husband and I actually just celebrated our 23rd anniversary this last week. So we have been together for quite some time. We've actually known each other since the 90s, the early 90s, when we actually went to high school together. But we didn't start dating until after we graduated high school. But we met in high school. So we've known each other for a very long time. And we were friends, and then just kind of decided to take that extra step and see if it would work out. And we're like, if it doesn't work out, that's fine. We'll still remain friends. And it kind of worked out. So, and my watch is going nuts again. What is it saying this time? Lightning has been detected. Okay, yep. Another storm's in the area. I'll get dings when there's lightning in the area, and then I'll get dings when it's lightning all clear. And this app will tell you 30 minutes after the last lightning strike that it's clear, there's no lightning in the area. So it kind of gives you an idea of when it's safe to go back outside, or, whatever the case is. I don't do as many live events anymore as what I used to do. I used to do live events every other weekend. I would go to a farmer's market of some sort and do an event. And it just got to a point where I was just extremely tired and I just couldn't do it anymore. And with working in the pharmacy and then having a young kid, and because my daughter was, oops, I put 3 beads there again. My daughter was really young at that time, and it was just hard. It was hard on my husband a little bit too, because some of the places that I would go were an hour away, and it would literally be an all-day event for myself, to where I'm well, then I only put 2 on. Oh well, I'm leaving it. I'm not taking it back out. But it'd be an all-day event. I'd get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to take a shower and get ready and leave, and I'd pack my car the night before, and then I would leave and drive out to wherever the event was at and do the event, which usually ended at like either 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, sometimes a little bit later. And then if I was out close to where my dad lives, I would go by and see him, and then drive home after that. And there would be times that I'd be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I wouldn't get home until 5 o'clock in the evening. And it was a lot. So I don't do as many outdoor events anymore. I kind of pick and choose now. So I do events. My next event isn't until October, I think, is my first one right now. I have one for October confirmed. I have one for December confirmed. And the one for October is going to be in North Houston. So, oh, thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. The one in October is close to where I live. It's not where I live, but it's in the area that I live in. But the Woodlands is north of Houston, and it is, they have a place called Market Street, and they have an event there that I have done for a couple of years, and I've done pretty well at those events. So if you're ever in the Houston area and there's that event going on, then I will most likely try to be there. All right, I only have 2 more rows that I can put on, and then, well, actually, it may actually be too long. I haven't even been measuring this. I've just been talking and going. All right, so that'll be the event in October, and then the one in December is also in the Woodlands, but it is at Rob Fleming Park, so it's a different part of the Woodlands. So, but since I live north of Houston, doing stuff in the Woodlands is really easy for me to do. And I have events that I go out to College Station and do. I have events that I go to Brenham. And Brenham, if you don't know, is where Bluebell ice cream is made. That's where it was started. So yeah, it's going to be a little short. So that's okay. We'll just add some jump rings to make it longer. But Brenham is where Bluebell ice cream was made and started. So last summer, my daughter and I actually took a day. We did a mommy-daughter date, and we drove out to Brenham to go get some ice cream, which is really awesome because you can tour the factory And it's like you have like this overhang that you walk around, and you can stand above the people working, and you're just watching them work and package the ice cream and stuff like that. And they have a little gift shop there, and then they have a museum, kind of a history museum about how it all started and things like that. So, there's things to do there. And you're silly and have a bruise when you go to the doctor, you get questions. Yeah, which I understand still awkward. Yeah, I could definitely understand that. It's like I'm 48, so I'm not quite there yet, but I still kind of get those question marks sometimes when I go in the doctor's office, at least recently with all my surgeries and stuff like that I've had. And they looked at my arms. I was like, it's my puppy. It's my puppy. It's fine. It's my puppy. But my daughter and I like to go to Brenham so we can go get ice cream. When you tour the facility, and then they also have a gift shop there. So we usually end up getting like a t-shirt or something. We usually end up getting something. And you can also get, obviously, ice cream there. All right, now it's time to add this guy. So you can also get ice cream at the ice cream place. I mean, that would just make sense. But what's really awesome is that the ice cream comes in a dish that is about that big around, and it's about that deep. And they call it one scoop. And that one scoop is $1. So you pay $1 to get a huge scoop of ice cream like that. And people are going up, and people have their families there, and some of these families are like a lot of kids, a whole lot of kids. But they bring their families with them and everything, and it just makes for a nice, very inexpensive treat, basically. Well, I guess that's not too bad. So, of course, like I said, I wear kind of a small bracelet, but I'd only have to add just a couple of jump rings. So that's not too bad. And I think this one, what happened to it? Yeah, I know. I heard the thunder too. It's getting closer. All right, so in this, I added 2 head pins just in case you wanted to make a little dangle to help you hold on to the bracelet if you had to use the jump rings. So, and I've got a lobster clasp, and then some just extra beads and stuff like that in there. So I'll probably, I might even just do that cascade. Just use one each of the jump rings like this on either side, and just do a cascade like that. Because I'm pretty sure, or I might do it backwards. I might do the small one and then go to the large, so it's easier to get the jump ring around, or the lobster around the jump ring. But I'll probably do something like that. Let's see, where are we on time? So 3:48. Okay. Because I told my daughter I'd try to be on for about 2 hours. Let's see, move my mouse around so it doesn't shut my computer off again. So if you're just stopping in, hello. I'm glad you're able to make it. Say hi if you're able to. If you're not, it might be because you're not a subscriber. And if you like what you are seeing, I do this every other Thursday at the same time, about 2 o'clock on Central Time. And if you like what you're seeing, go ahead and hit subscribe and then come back and see me. I am actually going to be back on live here on my channel on Saturday this time. Saturday, we are doing a group live with other ladies from Gemstone Orphanage, where we all do different videos, and we all have different techniques that we do. And we're all going to get together and work on our 250th celebration. that we got from Gemstone Orphanage. And we're going to get together and do a live then. So go ahead and hit subscribe and then come back and see us and join us on Saturday. Saturday, it will be at 7 p.m. on Central Time. And it'll be here on my channel. And like I said at the very beginning, if you hadn't been here since the beginning, let me know if anything looks funny. If, obviously I can't really help as far as how well I'm able to hold up things to get it close enough, things like that. But if my audio sounds funny or anything like that, this is the first time I'm using StreamYard on my live. And so I just want to make sure that my settings are good and nothing sounds funny and nothing looks funny outside of what I can actually control. So that way things will hopefully go a little smoother on Saturday. So hopefully you're able to make it. And all I'm doing now is just adding those extra 2 beads in between the white beads up here. And technically, I like to try to get at least 2 thread pass through just about every single bead. So more than likely, I'm not going to do it now, but more than likely off screen, I will go back with another piece of thread and I'll go back through just about everything again. And that's for stability, because I don't want somebody to be wearing a bracelet like this and then, they're wearing it and that just one extra little bead down here gets caught on something and it pops off and might pop the thread with it. And then all of a sudden you only have just that one thread, string of thread through there, and your whole bracelet starts to fall apart. So I don't like to do that. So I try to get at least 2 thread pass through every single bead. So, but I'm not going to do that here. I'll do that off screen. So that way we're not making this a 5-hour long video. I don't think my voice could last that long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this thread all the way over here to this bead here. And then I'm going to do I want to do it there or just go backwards and do it there? See, I'm going to try to get the loop off of the stop bead, which sometimes will come off, sometimes it won't, because they say you can't pierce the wildfire thread, but you really can. Okay, let's see if I can get... Oh, that's in the same direction though. Trying to figure out where to make the knot. It'll be fine. Okay, let me see if I can get another needle on this. Everything sounds great. And video, awesome. I do keep getting ads while you're live, which is weird. Okay. Yeah, I got to figure that out. I think that is actually in my YouTube setting. So I will definitely figure that part out. And because I have my daughter's YouTube going on over here off to my right, and I keep seeing ads going on hers too. And I'm pretty sure that is a setting in there, because I have the ads turned off in StreamYard, but there's probably something I missed on the YouTube part. So I will definitely look into that. So thank you for that. All right, can I leave the needle on and tie? Yep. Everything sounds good and looks great. Thank you. Yay, I'm glad it's working. So thank you to Chrissy, because Miss Chrissy and Jenny and Chrissy were wanting to help me get my live set up like this and everything. So I was able to spend some time with Chrissy, because I know Jenny had a little bit of a medical issue this last week. So Chrissy and I got together. When was that? I don't know. I don't remember now. I think it was Tuesday, maybe. Maybe it was last week. Anyways, we got together sometime or another. And she helped me get this set up and kind of walked me through the specifics on how to use StreamYard and things. So, oh my gosh, look at all that smoke come up. All right, so it still is kind of a little bit, it's bent a little bit like that, which is okay because there are a couple extra beads in here a little bit in a couple of spots. So, but like I had said that I like to go through everything at least twice. So I'm going to take another thread of excuse me, amount of thread, and I'm going to go through this again off screen. So after going through that again, that should help kind of get that to where it's not going to show as much anymore. And this is actually where the knot's at. So I'm going to get this away from the knot. I don't like to try to burn down right where the knot is at on necklaces and bracelets. Earrings, I tend to do it because it's an earring and usually you don't get as much wear and tear unless your knot is in a specific spot of the earring to where it can get wear and tear. But usually, oh, don't come out of the needle. Oh, I'm going to lose it. Come on. But usually on necklaces and bracelets, I will move the thread away from the knot before I burn off. All right, let's see if keep this on the needle. Come on, you can do it. Yay, it worked. Okay, good. And these lives are completely different than what my tutorials are, because my tutorials are more step-based, where I'll show you how to do a step, and then I'll break basically or cut off, and then go to the next step, and so on and so forth. So it's definitely tutorial-based and step-based, so that way if you need to, if you're following along with me or if you're making one of my projects, especially bead weaving, that you can pause it and be like, all right, so let me get that portion done, and then you can start it back up again and get the next portion done. So definitely different than my lives. My lives are pretty much like this. So even my tutorial lives, it's when I actually have something planned and made or planned to do, and not doing what I was doing earlier where I was just kind of designing on the fly. But those are kind of the same way. I have things already planned out and it kind of just goes along like this. So, all right, that's my needle. Okay, the other one's here. I got to make sure that I don't lose the needles because of the cats. They will take off with the needles. I've had to get them away from them before, and I'm like, great, that's not a good thing. Let's make sure we don't lose our needles. All right, so I'm going to try to do what I was talking about, where I'm going to add the 4mm jump ring, then the 6, and then the 8. I believe were the sizes that I used. All right, I need a different plier. I'm having a hard time holding on to that one today. And this is when you'll probably start seeing me shake a little bit more. All right, there's that. And make sure that that closes really good. There we go, that's better. All right, then we'll just make sure that this is closed all the way. And then we'll add the lobster on this other side. And then this is where I was talking about why I had put the head pins in there that if you wanted to use that as a little drop that you can add to one of these sides to hold on to. So that way you can close up your lobster clasp a little bit easier. You can do that, which I might make a drop with some of these extra spacer beads that I put in there. I might make a drop with that, so it is easy to get on and off. So sparkly and beautiful. Thank you. All right, and then this one. I mean, the jump ring is kind of like huge compared to the lobster, but kind of is what it is. It'll still look fine, I think. All right, make sure that is closed. And then if you have a little drop, then you can hold on to it with your finger like that. And then using your other hand, you can attach your lobster like that. So let's see, but I don't have any jump rings that I can attach anymore. Okay, well, is what it is. But in the kit, you get a lot more beads. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that would be the amount that you get in these guys. But you have a lot more of your red and your green compared to what I have here. So it's one of those things that one way or another, something like that could be made with this. So I will do a drop, I think, off camera, but that's how you would do it. Like you would just hold on to the drop over here with the one hand and then wrap this around and then be able to get the lobster on that way. So I have another bracelet somewhere around here. I have so many bracelets and so many things on my desk right now. Things are a little bit of a mess and I need to clean up. But, so yeah. So those are my two projects. Oh, before I get off, let me get the necklace back on there again. So that way somebody that's coming in late can see what the necklace is. So if you want to watch the rerun of it, then you can see the necklace. So we started off with the plain bead. And this is a bead that has little CZs in it and everything. And then we added the daggers down on the bottom. And then that's the way it looks like on the back. And then we just did a simple little loop for the bail here with just some seed beads. And then I got some of my beads out from some of the strands and then just made a necklace using soft flex wire and some crimp tubes and things like that. So that's the necklace that we made. Cute little necklace. And then, oh, see, there's another ad. Sorry. I'll get that fixed to where we don't have so many ads all the time. But there's our necklace, and then there is our bracelet. So that's the two projects that I made today. So let me get myself back up this way so that way you can see me again. So, Dominique. Oh, hi, Dominique. I'm glad you're able to make it. Alrighty, so unfortunately, though, I'm going to be getting off here in a few minutes. Don't forget, though, I do have my next live will be on Saturday. That will be with everybody. So we'll have Colleen, we'll have Becky, we'll have Jenny, and we'll have Chrissy. And all 5 of us will get together and we will do a live here on my channel. And we'll just make some stuff with the 250th happy birthday collection thing. I'm losing my words. When I start losing my words, that's when I know I'm getting tired. But anyways, so we're gonna get together and make some things with that. So, me too. I will watch the replay. Awesome, thank you. So, so yeah. So these were beads that were used. I used beads from my. Good gracious, sorry. I really can talk and make sentences. But these are beads that were made from my Creative Color Challenge, and it is my Italian Getaway Collection. So I do have the collections available down in my Etsy shop, which should be down in the description below. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. Both collections are both palettes, the Italian Getaway and the Sunset Fiesta, are available. The Sunset Fiesta is mainly just the bead strands and things like that. But the Italian Getaway, you can get the collection if you wanted to. So there again, I'm trying not to make this a pitch. I don't want my lives to be just selling things, but this is what I do also, is that I want to make sure that I'm making something else besides just the kit that comes with the collection. So that way people get an idea of other things they can make with the beads that I put together. So with that, I will see y'all back on Saturday. Saturday, it's going to be at 7 p.m. Central Time, and it'll be right here, and all 5 of us will get together and have some fun right before we all go and see some fireworks somewhere. So thanks everybody. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time so we can all make a new artistic creation together. Bye guys.